Hey, I recently received this very thorough set of 21 rice paper samples from Inkston.com, which I will link in the video description below. I'm doing 3 tests here. The first is some simple calligraphy with undiluted full-strength ink. The next test I'm doing is leaving just the tip of my brush on the paper to see how quickly the ink spreads. Some papers bleed out surprisingly quickly, while others do not absorb the excess ink at all. In the last test, I'm using diluted ink to see how quickly the watered-down ink spreads on the paper. Water can bleed very quickly into raw paper, which again turns everything into one giant fat blob. On each of these papers, I want to see how much bleeding and feathering occurs with a basic stroke. A little bit of bleeding is nice, as I think it helps to smooth out the shapes, but with too much feathering, I get frustrated because I lose the shape a lot and everything becomes one giant fat wet blob of ink. By the way, as you can probably tell, I am a very new student to Chinese calligraphy, so prepare to see me make a lot of mistakes throughout the video. Also, while you're here are some useful terms to know when researching rice paper. In Chinese, rice paper is called xuanzi. There are 3 main categories of rice paper: sized, raw, and half-sized paper. Raw paper is greedy and sucks up any moisture it touches. I generally have to use very little water and make quick strokes when working with this paper. Sized paper has been processed so that it is not absorbent. My strokes are preserved without any blending or bleeding into the paper. Semi-sized paper is lightly processed. It will still bleed and feather, but much more slowly than raw paper. So, what did I think? Which one was the best paper? Actually, I think they were all equally good. I know, that's a terrible answer. But I found that in between each category, there wasn't that much difference. Sure, some papers bled out faster than others, but once I got comfortable, I was able to adjust to match the paper. Basically, what I'm trying to say is none of these lovely and expensive papers made me a better artist. I will probably just purchase the cheapest raw rice paper from the sample pack the next time I need it. Thank you, Inkston.com, for these wonderful papers, and also for reminding me, once again, that throwing my money at fancy art supplies will not actually make me a better artist. So, sit back and enjoy the rest of the video. video. Here, I'm testing some crummy, cheap paper from my local Chinese bookstore. The ink on this paper bleeds out 4 to 5 times more than any of the other Inkston papers. Everything becomes a giant fuzzy blob of ink on this paper, and it infuriates me deeply.